you did not expect a One Punch Man event, neither did I. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool that it's One Punch Man as like the first one, you know? Like, I feel like most people expected like some Microsoft collab, you know, like whether it was like Halo or I don't know, some Minecraft or some like, you know what I mean? Like something Microsoft related. So the fact that it's not is pretty cool. Are we gonna continue having collabs now? Are we the awkward cousin of Fortnite? I don't know if we'll ever go to the levels of Fortnite, to be honest with you, because like Overwatch still has to keep character identity in some ways, while Fortnite, it doesn't matter because Fortnite doesn't have character identities. They've always just made whatever character you're playing the identity of the character you're playing, if that makes any sense. So I still think like whenever they do crossover events, it has to be somewhat, you know, it has to somewhat make sense. Like what else would probably make some sense? Like Ninja Turtles Genji? Pokeball Hammond? Yo, that actually could go hard. Pokeball Hammond would go so hard. Imagine if you could get a Hammond with like a Great Ball, Ultra Ball, Pokeball, Master Ball. That would be awesome. No way they would give him that many though. Iron Man Farah? Wait, Iron Man Farah would actually go hard. Oh, an Avatar crossover? That would be cool. Castle Crashers Rhyme? That'd be cool. Apparently there's an interview about the One Punch thing if you want to see it. Do you have a link? Overwatch 2 X One Punch Man. Why One Punch Man works
Genji for DBs.
And what to expect from future collabs exclusive. Overwatch 2's first IP collaboration is coming in Season 3 with a property few could have predicted. True, I did not predict it. I mean, some people when we asked like, oh, what cool collabs could they have, like this was definitely one of the ideas I saw, but Blizzard is adding One Punch Man skins to the game. It says skins as in multiple. Are there multiple? It's not just one. Next season, with Doomfist leading the charge in his Saitama outfit, complete with his signature red and yellow costume the overpowered One Punch Man hero wears. I could think of a few of them. I could think of a few that would work. Wait a minute. That's okay. This is getting spicy. We don't know who else would be getting One Punch Man skins beyond Doomfist. Comicbook.com did speak with Overwatch 2's commercial lead VP John Spector, we love John, and art director Dion Rogers to learn more about the work that went into this crossover, as well as how the Overwatch 2 team will approach future collabs. You can check out the full exclusive Q&A with the developers below. I think a lot of people will be surprised with it being One Punch Man to kick these collaborations off. So I guess let's start there. Tell me why One Punch Man, and why did it fit into this first collab? Okay, first off, really fast, let me just show you really quick. These guys literally have my tweets saved from August when I brought this up. When I was like, oh, it'd be cool if Overwatch did more events like this. They had this stuff bookmarked and saved and ready to go. I'm both happy and a little salty at the same time. Okay, so let's see what John had to say. So we really started seriously looking into these types of opportunities last year as we were prepping for the launch of Overwatch 2. Wait, so these types of opportunities last year as we were prepping for the launch of Overwatch 2. Wait a minute, did you guys see my tweet and you already had this planned and you were like, yep, saving that one for a future day? Okay, dude. And we were sort of setting out to go find the right collab. Or the right first collab. Like, we had a couple of tests that we thought about. The first was basic. It was like, is this cool? Dude, John really is like the rest of us. If those don't know John, he really is. He's not like some, you know, like big out of like, you know, like upper level. I mean, he technically is like a bigger upper level guy, but he's really just like us. And that was taking our whole, and that was talking to our whole team about it. But also, you know, trying to put the lens of Overwatch players and being like, do you think our players will think this is cool? And then beyond that, we also started thinking about which types of shows or places we could collab with. Had an art style that felt right for the game, and we thought the characters would be cool to bring into the Overwatch universe. And so we were talking to Bandai Namco and evaluating some of the options. One Punch Man kind of immediately jumped to the top, as this was super fun world that they've created with these great iconic characters. And we loved, I think Dion can talk more about this, even as we just started sketching out what we think we could bring, dude, I cannot. Hang on, I need to zoom in. Even as we started sketching out what we could look to bring One Punch Man to life in Overwatch, we all got so excited we had to do it. So Dion's response is, yeah, I think when we first announced it, one of the artists began sketching Saitama as Doomfist literally before the meeting was finished. So we had a lot of fans on the team. It was surprising to learn how many people on the team loved the show, and we were very excited to being our first IP collab with One Punch Man. So this is like interviewer question. And John, I know you mentioned last year that you were interested in these kinds of collaborations like this. When did One Punch Man enter this conversation? Was it going to be One Punch Man from the start, or an extension of that? Was it always going to be an anime? Yeah, John, spill it. So we started with a pretty broad look, and I think we got to anime really quickly because from, just again, what we did think is cool. Just like us, I'm telling you. A bunch of us love some of these shows. But then also, we've done some research on what our players are asked about, of what are your favorite interests outside of Overwatch. Like, anime is the top of every list every single time for what our players are interested in and what they think is cool. So we zeroed in on starting there pretty quickly. The interview I think that you were referencing last year, at that time, we are not 100% on this specific thing, but we were really close. And so we have had a sense of what we were looking to do and how this could come to life in the game. And we were really excited about it, but it obviously haven't really been able to talk about it until now, and as we got closer to the launch. Obviously, the first skin that we have here is Saitama Doomfist. It makes perfect sense for the One Punch Man collaboration. He looks like Saitama, but I'm interested. Does the skin go deeper than that? Why Doomfist for this beyond just the both punch things? Well, most of the characters we imagine they're cosplaying the heroes. They're fans of One Punch. And Doomfist, you obviously might have heard one of his lines is, "One punch is all I need." True. This is obviously an inspired line from the show, so we see our characters as cosplay of the heroes from One Punch Man. That makes sense. So Saitama being a perfect fit for Doomfist, especially one of the artists immediately drew a rough sketch of what he could potentially look like. This answer is literally like, so they were like, what about beyond the punching thing? And they were like, no, we just thought the punching thing was cool. like that was the first thing we thought of was Doomfist punch. That works. So yeah, that's just kind of what we did. That's what it sounds like, at least, which is awesome. And basically, the scale of the heroes and the scale of Saitama fits Overwatch. It feels like we need to do something that we made sure our hero is still there. Doomfist is still there, but we're celebrating the look of Saitama in Overwatch. Wait. Is this an emote? Wait a minute. He's walking with groceries. That's an emote. That's 100% an emote. That's amazing. Is this confirmed? This is a exclusive interview. And the fact that this photo exists and was given to them, that's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. I imagine these kinds of collaborations that you're doing now, there's a fine line between making them look like the character are supposed to look like, while also maintaining clarity. So this is what I was kind of talking about before, of like why it would be hard to do certain collabs, because like it wouldn't make sense to the universe. You need to know that it's Doomfist or Ana. Whoever you know, whoever you need to know, it's that person. You're coming around the corner and you find them. So what was it like navigating the kind of balance between that? Dude, I've read so many articles today, my brain is falling apart. Yeah, we had a lot of sketches. There were some that were pretty spot on. You can feel that with Saitama, which you're right, it's collaborative. We're always working with gameplay, and we'll push it too far, pull it back, and find that sweet spot where you still recognize Doomfist. You know how to strategize against it. You know who I just thought of? Who's the green-haired girl? Tatsumaki? I could totally see a Mercy skin. I could totally see it. Because she like she has wind and she floats, right? I could totally see that happening. Anyways. His silhouette hasn't changed so greatly that you don't know what strategies you need to take in-game. So basically, in-game you still recognize that it's Doomfist. And so this is where we landed on the more cosplay aspect of the introduction, is if we do more, that's how we'll approach it in the future. I noticed in the preview of the skin, he's carrying a bag of groceries. Is that an emote? What is that? There are some other cosmetics related to the event that we'll dig into more, I think later. But yeah, there's fans of the show, so we pulled things that we thought were funny, or we thought we just remembered from the show. And there's a scene where Saitama obviously has groceries that he takes back to his apartment. So you'll find that featured in this event as well. Told you! Told you! True. Are the voice lines a factor in this as well? Very much. Because Doomfist is getting this, would you consider this the main skin for the event? Given Saitama's centrality to the One Punch Man story, we thought that this would be the best one to lead with to show players, which means to us to bring One Punch Man to life in Overwatch 2. But we've, and I have to say we, the art and the other teams have done this incredible job of bringing several other characters to life too. And so, I think as we get closer to the event in March and can reveal the full lineup of what players can expect, you'll see that it's like Saitama was. We think that the right skin to lead with and the right hero to show off first. But personally, I love everything else the team has built, and I can't wait to be able to show off more of that too. Oh my god, this is actually so cool. And if you're gonna lead with the Doomfist Saitama, that means that Doomfist has to get a buff, right? Because you want people to want the skin. You should have seen the first test when we said, well, he needs, he. So is this article just kind of like a little bit out there, or am I really just losing the ability to read today? He needs to eliminate everything with one punch. That's a joke. Just to be super clear, but yeah, there's this fun. Dude, I've been feeling really self-conscious in this one while reading it, and maybe it isn't just me. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm no NASA level college professor bedtime story reader, but I don't know. I think it's one of the things that I personally love about One Punch Man series. I've watched a fair amount of different shonen shows. They always have the arc of the heroes getting stronger over time, and they start out too weak to really impact the world. And you open in One Punch Man with the most OP hero that's ever existed. So I think that there's always a fun aspect of the show. It's something I've liked as a fan, but obviously in the Overwatch universe, it's in the team's job to keep things feeling balanced. So I think Doomfist killing everything with one punch would not be great for gameplay. It would be maybe a funny TDM game mode, but... and we joke about balance, but seriously, I know that Doomfist is not the most popular hero, not the most popular tank. Do you think win rates and pick rate factors in this conversation at all? You mean in terms of how we're thinking about the skins in the collab? Like you said, you're leading with the Doomfist skin, but Doomfist is not the most popular hero. Is that a conversation that ever took place with you guys while you were talking about this? No, it has to be Doomfist Saitama. Yeah, not gonna lie, this is a really weird question. Yeah, for us, okay. For us, this was like very creatively led the whole way. We have this amazing opportunity to work with One Punch Man. What are the coolest things that we could do to bring it to life? So I think Saitama is an amazing example of that. But yeah, there was never a, hey, we need to figure out how to get, the most popular hero into this. There is no criteria of that we looked at. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really weird, that's like a wasted question. And Dion, going back to what we talked about before about balancing the looks, I know you said that you wanted them to look like they were cosplaying the heroes, basically. What would you say that the most important part of the design of these heroes? Or if not, what do you think was the most important to get right about these? I think the most important part was to celebrate both IPs. We want to make sure Overwatch is still there, but we're collaborating with a different partner. We want to make sure that they're satisfied with the results too. So we had a closer relationship with the anime group in finding that right balance. And so the end balance ultimately resulted in the cosplay perception, what we believe captured, you can see in the picture behind you, we picked out what those key colors that make Saitama who he is, the whole red that he wears. Whole red that he wears. Where would that be placed on our Overwatch hero? So it has to be a delicate balance of satisfying both. You know, there's no point if it's too cheap of a costume, and there's no point if we lose Doomfist in the process. So that's kind of how we approached it. It took quite a few drawings to find a sweet spot, but once we did it, it just felt like the whole team was just like, yes, let's do this. Am I just really bad at reading today? Is it me? And you can speak about all the distribution plans for all these skins and these cosmetics. Obviously, Overwatch 2 has a battle pass system now. Will these show up in the shop? Are they going to be in the battle pass, or a mix of those? So we're planning to put the skins generally in the shop when we're running the event. That makes sense. And then we picked out one of the legendary skins for the event to be made as reward for the challenges during the One Punch Man event, so that all the players will have the ability to go in and earn one of the major skins from the collab, and the others will be available in the shop. Okay, I'm a little nervous. John didn't say it was going to be the Doomfist one, but hear me out on this. It could be the ability to choose which of the skins you want. That would be really cool. Imagine if you earned like a token to pick one, and you could take whatever one you liked. That would be the true way that they would pop the f off, but I don't know. We'll see. Some other games, sometimes they'll put it as level 100 reward in the battle pass. Something like that. Why not put it in the battle pass? Because who is asking these questions? Of course it's not in the battle pass, because season 3 is not launching when this is happening. We have it in season 3. I think we will come out soon. As we're showing off more of season 3, like One Punch Man for us is an event within this season, but it's not like the seasonal theme. And so we have a different kind of Asian mythology and Asian goddesses and gods theme for season 3 cosmetics more broadly. Like our mythic skin is along the lines of that in the battle pass, and are a couple of other skins that way too. Have game modes entered the conversation with this at all? Is a One Punch Man game mode on the table? We're trying a bunch of things. You just maybe stay tuned. I could totally see something kind of happening with that. Kind of like the Olympus, like Gods of Olympus thing. Speaking broadly about these sorts of crossovers, why is this sort of thing even necessary? What does it bring to Overwatch 2? What? It's actually something creatively, especially the art team, we've been looking and wanting to do for a long time. You might have remembered the Lego Bastion collab we did a long time ago for Overwatch 1. And so we've always wanted to get back to that. And but it still was important to the team to see what felt right. What was the team excited by, especially the art team, because this would be a creative driven thing. Wow, that was a long sentence. So obviously the Overwatch scene, there's a lot of anime fans, and we've been thinking about what would fit in Overwatch. And then the opportunity for One Punch Man came up, and the team just jumped at it. But you know, the game was big, and we kept going. We kept trying to figure out what's next. And it's actually really exciting to finally do this. This is something we've been itching as an art team to do for a long time, and so it felt like this is the right time to do it together. John's response is, and we also heard a lot from our players that this type of thing is what they're interested in seeing. And so, because this is the first time they were really doing something on this scale, we also sort of look at it as just an opportunity to try something that we think is really cool and how our players respond to it, right? Like, we expect people to see this collab and awesome work that the team did to bring it to life and feel really excited about it. But we're also going to be closely listening to our players and understanding what they like or don't about this. And this is the type of thing that we would like to do more of in the future, but we also really want to see how this first one goes and make sure that we have a chance to learn from that too. Dion, you specifically mentioned the Lego Bastion skin, and I think that there is some in-house collaborations with different Blizzard games. Are these the kinds of things still on the table or moving forward? Does every crossover need to be something One Punch Man scale, or can we expect smaller drops along the way? Oh, we love our own games too. It's super fun to do an internal like Diablo or StarCraft skin, so yeah, we definitely do more of those. I'd say where we're at now, this is the first time we're really trying something of this scale, as you noted. We've done the Lego skin, we've done other Blizzard IPs in the Overwatch universe before, so this is really kind of us as a starting point, and our hope is that we'll do more things like this. Maybe some things that are smaller scale as well, but in every instance, it's sort of a do what we think is cool and expect our players. Do we think this is cool and do we expect our players will? And you know, does it feel like we're sketching things out that fits well within the Overwatch universe? As long as I think we can stick those principles, there's probably a bunch of cool stuff that we can do over time, and the team is interested in looking at. Like I said, John is literally just like one of us. They're like, yeah, if we think it's cool, we'll do it. If we don't think it's cool, we're not doing it. I'm glad you mentioned Diablo 4. Or sorry, Diablo 4 is coming up. Has it entered any of the conversation at all? I would love to, but we haven't talked much about it. With this first type of IP collab, you both realize you've opened the door to another kind of request. Instead of people saying buff or nerf Genji, they're now going to be on Twitter asking, why aren't we doing this collab next? I want this next. Have you prepared for these kinds of responses? And how do you plan on factoring these kinds of suggestions into your equation when it comes to figuring things out like this? Dude, I hate to be that guy, but this is legitimately getting under my skin at this point. The last time I talked about this topic at all was before we launched the game, and the only thing I said was, hey, this is something we might be interested in doing. My Twitter mentions were full for a very long time with, you know, everyone's favorite anime show or other type of ideas. Because that first principle for us is, do we think our players are going to like this? It is something that we will take a look at how our players engage with the different challenges or the events more broadly, and go out and look to gather feedback from our community team and others. I expect this as part of the process. Yeah, our players are going to be all trying to bring life or suggest other cool ideas, of course. And that's something I think is amazing about the Overwatch community. Like, this is such a talented and creative, passionate group of players that even before we announced One Punch Man, we've seen tons of other fan art or other inspired ideas. So we have to be really careful, right? As a process point, whenever we're creating something like this, we're doing all that ourselves and maintaining all of the creative authorship and everything else in order to bring something to the game. But we love how passionate and excited our players are about exciting things like this. And yeah, I absolutely expect that when we announce this, there's going to be a ton of excitement. There's also going to be a ton of like, well, why not this show instead? And other things like that. And Dion said, so since it's our first one now, the team is since it's our first one now, the team they're interested now. It is really fun to make this one. And so now, I can see the interest on the team of, okay, let's explore the other areas if we can, you know? So I think, especially seeing the response from the players, well, I'd love to do more if we can. I think there's some people who probably would say, maybe Overwatch purists will say, they want... Oh, why does this happen? Why did they just jerk back and forth in the middle of these questions? They want Overwatch to just be Overwatch. Maybe they're not as big on collabs because they're worried about what this might lead to in the future. Having all these, I don't want to say cartoony skins, but not their heroes they're familiar with. Have you anticipated this kind of response as well? This is like the classic forum Reddit post that like gets downvoted into oblivion. I think this is one of the reasons why, aside from, you know, everything else Dion talked about, why, at least from my perspective, I loved where the art team and designers landed in terms of how we brought these characters to life in Overwatch 2. It is still Doomfist. It's not that now all of a sudden in Overwatch 2, instead of playing Doomfist the tank, you can play Saitama flying around killing everything in one punch. And it looks like Doomfist. It's still Doomfist in your games. I don't expect every player to love what we've done here. Our players are not a monolith. They all have different opinions and things that are excited about and not excited about. But I would hope that for those players who were sort of concerned about this, about not wanting a massive proliferation of not Overwatch heroes all over the game, I would hope they see the approach that we've taken and that resonates, reassures them that this is Doomfist and he's cosplaying as Saitama, and it still looks like Doomfist. Great answer. And how frequently do you see these sorts of things happening? Do we need one every season, or do you think this would be kind of dull, the anticipation for it? I'd say at this point, we're not sure. There's an opportunity for us to learn and understand how much do players love this. We're not imminently planning a second one, like there's not another Season 4 major collab coming up, for example, But we do have a bunch of different ongoing conversations for us, things we're excited about potentially bringing to life. And so, at least my own perspective is I think we need to wait a little bit, wait and see a little bit, see how the first one goes. And I don't want to say we know what the right answer is yet. I don't think we do. I think we're going to experiment with things and see what works and sticks. But I love what we've been able to do here, and personally, I'd be really excited about being able to do more of this, and do it relatively frequently. But you know, never to the point where every week you're booting up Overwatch 2 and there's a set of new characters that come in. I think there's very clearly at some point in which you've gone too far there. Oh my god, that was one of the worst articles I've ever had to read. But the stuff in it was really, really cool. I guess there is definitely like somewhat rightful concerns. Is like, does Overwatch lose its what Overwatch is? Does it become Fortnite? But I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think that the game is like built like that. Like always, like if you look at like Goku and Vegeta and Naruto and even Naruto and stuff like in Fortnite, those characters look so drastically different than like the older characters, right? Like they almost like they're like 2D brought to 3D life, as opposed to made in 3D type characters. Like when Fortnite actually launched, like it's very, very different. I think Overwatch would have to make massive ideological changes to do something like that, and I don't see them doing it. So I don't think that's honestly a big concern. I think the idea of cosplaying characters, like the characters are cosplaying, is genius. Real talk.